Look, I don't say this lightly, but something just happened that I genuinely did not think we did see this fast. Barack Obama is back. Not back in a soft, polished press release kind of way, not back with a carefully crafted speech where every single word is run through a PR team 17 times. I am talking back in the way where it feels like the man has just hard enough and he's done holding it in. Reports have been coming out, and these aren't rumors. People are on record here that Obama has been privately calling out what's happening in this administration in a way that is blunt, direct, and honestly kind of shocking coming from him. We are talking about a guy who is known for being the most measured, controlled politician of his generation, the guy who wrote two best selling books and somehow managed to make them both sound calm. And now he's fired up. We are going to get into all of it today: the reported private texts, the attacks on his family, the AI videos, and the Qatari jet situation that honestly should have been front page news for a lot longer than it was. Stay with me, this one's got layers. What's up, Joshu Army? I am Frank John, and you are watching your favorite channel, Joshu Reaction. If you have been here before, you already know what we are do. We don't take sides, we don't dress things up. We just sit down, look at what's actually happening, and talk about it straight. No spin, no agenda, just honest analysis. If you are new here, genuinely welcome. You stumbled onto the right channel. Hit that subscribe button because we have got a lot of important stuff coming and you do not want to miss it. Now, today's video, I want to be really clear about something before we get into this. This is not a team Obama video. This is not a bash Trump video. What this is a breakdown of some real events that have happened over the last few weeks that I think a lot of people, especially in the US and Canada, are not getting the full picture on. The media cycle moves fast. Things get buried, stories get half covered and then disappear. My job is to slow it down, look at the details, and give you something you can actually think about instead of just react to. So, let's get into it. Okay, I want you to sit with that for a second because here's what you just heard. According to reporting by journalist Prince Harry, and this is sourced, this isn't gossip. Obama has reportedly been venting privately to people in his circle about what's happening in Washington right now, and the language being described is not diplomatic, not at all. Now, I want to be careful here because I'm not in the room, neither are you, but the fact that this reporting exists, the fact that people close to Obama are apparently on record saying this, that tells you something. Listen, this is a man who spent 8 years in the White House where everything he said was recorded, analyzed, and picked apart. He spent 8 years speaking in measured, careful paragraphs. He's not a guy who just says whatever on his mind in the moment. He's disciplined, he's strategic. So when reports come out saying he's sending late night messages to friends, venting about what this administration is doing, calling decisions out directly, you have to ask yourself, what does it take to get that guy to that point? I'm telling you, that's not a small thing. The most patient man in American politics reportedly has lost his cool, and not in a tweet at 2 a.m. kind of way, in a quiet, private, I genuinely cannot believe what I'm watching kind of way, which honestly might be even more telling. Think about who you get frustrated with privately. It's not randoms, it's not strangers, it's stuff that actually getting to you, and that's what this feels like. Now, whether you agree with Obama's frustration or not, that's a completely separate conversation, and we are going to get to that. But just on the pure human level, that reaction is real and it matters, right? So now we have crossed into different territory entirely. I want to separate two things here. There's policy. You can debate policy all day long. You can disagree with the president's decisions, their agenda, their priorities. That's fair game. That's literally what democracy is supposed to look like. Disagree, debate, vote, fine. But this is not that. What you just saw in that clip using AI generated video to go after someone's family, that is completely different conversation. And I don't care where you land politically. I genuinely don't. If you are watching this and you are a Trump voter, if you are watching this and you are an Obama supporter, if you are somewhere in the middle of most of you sitting in your living rooms in Ohio or Ontario or wherever you are, you know that targeting a person's spouse with fake AI content is just, it's a low move, full stop. And Obama's response to it, I respect it. He didn't go on a 45-minute rant. He didn't write a long editorial. He reportedly said that I am paraphrasing here, pick on someone your own size. That's it. That's the whole response. And look, there's something to be said for that kind of restraint, because that easy thing would have been to go off. The easy thing would have been to make it a whole moment. Instead, he kept it short, kept it clean, and let the simplicity of it speak. And here's why that matters for regular people watching this, for you watching in the US or Canada. We are living in a moment where AI generated content can put anyone's face on anything, your neighbor, your local politician, your family member. This is not a distant tech problem anymore. It's here. And the question of who's allowed to do it and what's the consequences are, and whether there are consequences, that's a conversation that affects all of us. What it happens to someone famous, it gets a news cycle. What it happens to a regular people, nobody shows up. So we need to paying attention to how this stuff gets handled at the top, because it sets the standard for everything below it. Okay, so here's where I need to get real with you for a minute. I'm going to ask you something and I want you to actually think about it before your answer. If Barack Obama, while he was president, had accepted a 400 million private jet as a gift from a foreign government, what do you think would have happened? I tell you what would happen. It would have been everywhere, every single network, every single opinion show. We would still be hearing about it. That would have been Senate hearings. There would have been op-eds. There would have been documentaries. Now, the Trump administration is reportedly in discussions to accept a luxury Boeing 747 from a Qatari royal family as a potential Air Force One replacement. And I'm not even saying the deal is finalized. What I am saying is story existed. It got covered for a few days, then it mostly moved on. That's a double standard Obama's been pointing at, and honestly, you don't have to be an Obama fan to see it. You just have to paying attention. Here's why this actually matters for everyday people in US and Canada, and I want to be really specific here because I don't like doing these videos without connecting it to something real. When the rules don't apply the same way to everyone, people stop trusting the rules. Period. That's not a left thing or a right thing. That's just human nature. If you grew up in a household where one kid got punished for something and the other kid did the same thing and got a pass, you know exactly how that feels. It's not about the thing itself anymore. It's about whether fairness is even real. And that erosion of trust, that affects everything. It affects whether people vote, it affects whether they believe what they see in the news, it affects whether they think institutions are worth defending at all. Obama calling this out, whether you agree with him politically or not, is pointing at something that a lot of regular people already feel but don't always have the language to actual. And I think that's what actually driving the reaction to him speaking up right now. It's not just Obama said something about Trump, it's that a lot of people are nodding along, saying, yeah, I have been thinking that too. All right, so where does all of this land? Here's my honest read. Obama breaking his silence, the timing, the way it came out, the things he's reportedly been saying privately, it's not nothing. It's not just a former president making noise because he's bored. Something pushed him the past the point of staying quiet, and whatever side of the Asley you are on, that is worth taking seriously. Now, does the change anything? Does it actually move the needle in any real way? That's a question I keep coming back to, because we have seen a lot of moments in the last few years that felt like turning points and then kind of weren't. So I'm not here to tell you this is the moment everything shifts. I don't know that, nobody does. What I do know is that the conversation matters, the accountability matters, the double standard stuff, the AI stuff, the question of who the rules apply to all of those matters, and I want to know what you think. So here's what I'm asking. Drop a comment right now: Obama versus Trump heading into 2026. Who actually wins that argument in the public eye? Not at the ballot box. I'm talking about the argument, that credibility. Who do people actually believe? I want to hear from my US viewers, especially one of this, because you are the ones living inside it every single day. And if this video gave you something real to think about, share it, not because I'm begging for clicks, but because the people in your life deserve for the full picture too, not just the headlines. I am Frank John. This is Joshu Reaction. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay informed. Talk soon. Bye bye. Peace.